Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex, and we're back for another episode of In the Works. We will have Cameron joining us here as well. Some things that we have to talk about today as far as USDC goes, some news coming from there, and we'll talk about what's going on with Para. So let's add Cameron in. We'll chat for a little bit and wait for some people to stroll in, and then we'll get going. Good morning, Cameron. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Just we're starting to fight some colds over here in my family, so.
Oh, okay.
We've been a little under the weather this morning, but I feel a little bit better now.
Okay. So well, good. Well, I hope that you guys get feeling better soon. Man, what a crazy day.
Right?
Yeah. I got a message from someone saying this is yesterday, and I wish I would have taken it a little bit more seriously and thought about it a little bit more. But he said, "Hey, if you have anything in USDC, get out." And
right.
And I was like, okay. And I was thinking kind of on a personal level, I'm like, oh, I don't have anything in USDC. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. We've got some assets in USDC. So I woke up this morning. I saw that it had unpegged. It was about 32 cents, 33 cents to the dollar.
Yeah.
And it has recovered almost all of that. It's like 94 cents.
94, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, we have exited and moved out of USDC. And then the weird thing is it's like, where do you go? Do you go to Tether?
Right. Tether, yeah.
I didn't do Tether in the first place because I know Tether has problems.
Yep.
Do you go to BUSD, which I've thought was pretty stable, but
they've had problems too. I mean,
they have problems too.
They've been gone after by the government. Yeah, I mean,
Binance has got some stuff.
So what do you? I mean, ETH's too volatile. You know, a stablecoin is the obvious choice to keep assets as far as how that goes. But it is, what's going on with stablecoins? Like, what's going to be the end game there? It's just so, I don't even know what the word for it is right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I put in a message. I said, hey, what do we trust more? Do we trust that, because we could do something like, as an example, move funds over and cash out and keep it in a centralized exchange and have dollars in a centralized exchange. But that's not exactly a safe bet, especially off of the bank closure yesterday with the SVB.
Yeah.
You don't know who's got money in that bank because that was a big tech company, bank that had a lot of crypto holdings and stuff. So It's like, all right, is that a good bet? Do you want to do USDT, which is weird because technically it's unpegged as well. It's just unpegged in the other direction,
Yeah.
So it feels like there's not too many safe places if you're trying to avoid volatility. I mean, if you're in Ethereum, if you're in Bitcoin, ride the wave, whatever, we've been here before. But for us, specifically, we're talking about our payroll and stuff. Like, we don't want that in crypto. We want to be able to kind of forecast where we're going to be over the next few months. And so it's like, what do we do with what do we do with these funds, that are being used to pay developers and things like that?
Yep.
We don't want it in Ethereum. If Ethereum is going to drop down to 800 again, which is possible, then
you want to buy it at that.
Yeah, you want to buy it at that. So anyway.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the word safe is what you're looking for. Where is the safe place to store assets? And ETH and Bitcoin have been heavily volatile on interest rates and the Fed, what they've been deciding, as far as rates going up and down. And so, if you leave it in one of those, who knows what's going to happen next week by week or every 2 weeks? Could go up, could go down. But yeah, I woke up to this morning and was like, wow, because it's one of the top 3 stables in the world and just depegged. So yeah, well, it's interesting.
And I understood USDC to be a much better choice. Like, that was my understanding from the research and stuff that I had done. So to see that take a hit, I mean, go down to 34 cents to $1. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, that's an incredible drop.
Yeah. So that's some scary stuff right there. But then you go to USDT and it's like you have $1 in USDT and it's like worth $1.08 over there. So
Yeah.
it's still unpegged. It's just in a way that we aren't necessarily that concerned about. But what happens with those people getting in? I mean, the idea is that it would go back down to $1, right? So you're guaranteeing an 8% loss almost.
Yeah.
Weird.
And that's where guaranteed, a loss is never good. But
right.
It just goes back to show you how things are changing in the space and what could happen day to day. So it's just, man, it's tough. It's really tough to see where this is going. And what's causing all this, is there an end game to all this? Hopefully, but who knows?
Right. Well, this is definitely, I mean, as far as regulation, where the government and regulators are going to have their entry point, this is clearly it. Centralized exchanges and stables. So yeah, it's pretty clear that this is probably the entry point. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would be worthwhile for people within the crypto space to really understand, and I'm speaking for myself because genuinely I feel like I have a vague idea of how a stable functions, but I guess I don't really know. What are the true mechanics of a stable coin? How does it function? What are the algorithms truly doing? What is it backed with? All of those questions. Is there arbitration between exchanges and things like that? I think it's probably something that we in the crypto ecosystem really start to become experts at.
Yeah. And that's the thing. My first thought was, well, how does it just depeg? Right? I thought it was just supposed to be pretty much locked in there at $1. And so it really does make you think of like, I wonder how they really do work. As that was one of the first things I thought this morning too, was I guess I don't really understand how they work.
Yeah. I mean, I thought on a very basic level, I thought you would have, the money coming in as people are buying or the money leaving. And then you would have an algorithm that either creates more coins or deletes coins and keeping that value always at $1. I thought it was that simple.
Right.
Apparently it's not that simple. So
it all seems that simple until something like this happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, 34 cents on that. I mean, because if that was the case, you could correct that in a matter of seconds, right?
Right.
Like that's all you'd have to do is, but I don't know. Yeah, it's probably more complicated than that.
Yeah. But when a bank fails, that's holding, 7% of the supply or the market cap. I mean, that's significant. So, but they say they're operating in normal. So I don't really know as far as Circle goes. They're saying that operations are normal, and so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens the next few days if we get any more updates or if it kind of just disappears again.
Well, maybe they have a system that slowly balances things out. I mean, I don't know. It's rare that you would see something drop down, say from like $1 to 34 cents, and then come right back up and then not revisit those levels. So there's clearly mechanisms and mechanics that aren't fully understood by me. I mean, I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting space. And then we're talking about like SVB. I mean, this is probably a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Probably a big deal. I don't know. I remember like a year ago being on spaces with like Cryptobolics and talking about the possibility of like stagflation and things like that. I mean, this is I think that this is more likely the case than ever, that we're probably going to be having a day of reckoning for all this money creation. So the question is this is, I'm not trying to filibuster. Banks can fail in the same way that FTX can fail, right?
Yep.
And we saw this back in 2008 before crypto was even popularized or anything like that, where you had, or was it even, wasn't even around really,
Right.
where you had, these big banks. I mean, Enron, not a bank, but right, a security company. But Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns and all this, these big failing financial institutions. And yeah, I mean, you're seeing that this can fail. You see the FTX, Gemini, Voyager, all this other stuff in the crypto world fails.
Yep.
So can the decentralized crypto maintain?
Yep.
That's the question. If it's on chain, can it get around all of the fiat, right? Which is just BS manipulated by people that think that they have the answers, and
Yep.
genuinely they don't.
Yep. Well, it just comes back to, we've talked about this before, where most of the problems have been coming from the centralized side of it. Almost all of the problems have been coming from that side of it, and DeFi has just been kind of taking its blows from all of that, but it just kind of continuing to move along. So it kind of goes to show you, I think, where the holes are and where the problems are. Not to say DeFi is perfect by any means, because we know it's not. But most people say the future is DeFi and not centralized, and so. But then you bring in the whole world of CBDCs and stuff like that, and that's a huge topic right now. And um, so yeah, it's just I don't know anymore. People ask me questions all the time, and I'm like, every day to day something else happens, and I'm like, I don't really know what's going to happen or where we're going.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure either. I think that, I mean, it can go either of two ways, and obviously it's like it's a pretty chaotic day. So I think that when that's going on, it feels worse than it maybe is. Doesn't that just remind you of Luna?
Yes.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw the chart today. I was like, oh
Yep.
no, it's Luna
I
all
know.
over again.
Yep.
Circle says operations are normal. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this question that's pinned up here. So USDC fell to about 0.83. It fell lower than that,
Yep.
from what I
Probably just
saw.
what you saw. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a second. Hold on.
So more or less, MG, while he's doing that, USDC depegged from $1 and dropped into the 30 cents. About 34 cents this in the middle of the night, I think. And when I got up this morning, I think it was back into the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I finally did see the price, but because of the Silicon Valley Bank situation collapse, and that's where Circle held quite a bit. Looks like about 4 billion worth of the 42 billion held in that bank. So it took a hit from that. So it just depegged from $1 and lost what, almost 70% this morning, sometime between, now and late last night.
Yeah, like I'm looking here. I guess like we don't know what chart this is. I mean, I know it's like USDC to USDT.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know the exchange. But on Binance US, USDC to $1, which is, I think, how we should be looking at this, since it's supposed to be a stable token to $1. It got as low as, the absolute low was 0.3322. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is. I don't necessarily disagree with Q on this. They do feel kind of planned. I mean, I don't know if planned is the right word, but I don't know. It's just there's so many things that are happening all kind of in a row,
Mm-hmm.
and so much mismanagement. I don't know. I kind of do agree. It just seems too coincidental to be so much, mismanaged.
Right. I mean, there's that saying, don't attribute malice to things that you can contribute incompetence to.
Yeah.
But it does seem weird. It in a way, there's a lot of things, because it's not just this. Like if you were to just take this on face value, sure. But it almost seems like a controlled demolition. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
There's been too much going on for too long. I don't know. So I definitely see what you guys, I agree.
And I think it's one of those things where we're trying to talk about that too much because it kind of sounds conspiracy theory, like, oh, they're just trying to topple some of crypto from this side and down. But, maybe they're just kind of paving the way for regulation to come through at some point, starting to take down some of this stuff and kind of get it to where they want it to be, to where they can build it the way they want to build it. So, but who knows?
I'm not gonna be upset with the accuracy rating of a lot of these conspiracies out there. I'll just say. But realistically, we saw this. Like, if we just go back to Luna, like if we do keep it completely objective, like what we know, there was the Luna thing was not completely mismanagement. There were some bad things going on, but it was exploited for profit by these bigger banks. We know that.
Yeah.
And then so that's what we know. And then we see Janet Yellen and the Fed come out and say, oh, well, we need to take over the stables like the next day or within a few hours. Like, so that's where how much of you said your best friend to go do a demo job. And then you're like, well, we've got a solution we can sell you,
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But, we talk, I wanted to talk about this because it does play a role in everything else. You know what I mean? And so it affects the rest of the space, and what Para is doing, it could affect that, and so before I forget, guys, if you guys could like the video for us, appreciate everybody being here this morning. Sebastian, Fred, MG, Q. Let's see, who else did I see? Sky, Wildlife. Thank you guys for coming this morning.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
So, but I do want to talk about the ParaPay app.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it on Wednesday, and I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but I do kind of want to mention it. I know Spencer showed us kind of the smoothness of it, and if you want to talk about that a little bit, we didn't talk about that on Wednesday, but he sent that video, and I'm like, wow. So if you want to talk about it, and
sure,
we'll just kind of discuss that and just kind of give people an idea of kind of what we're seeing.
Yeah. And when I have a second, I'll try and maybe pull it up, and I wonder if I can share it. But yeah, it's very smooth. So originally we were hoping to do an Apple Pay where you take your phone, you tap a device, and then it pays through. We found out that those features have been locked up by the phone provider, so you can't tap. But there are some functionalities that we're still able to do with this, which is if you have a card, you can tap it to a phone and take payment. So you can turn your phone into a payment processing system, which is really cool. So with that information, we've developed two apps. We have an app that a business or a merchant would use in order to take payments. And then we have another app that everyone else would download and use to be able to spend their crypto, same as cash. And so we're now with the functionality, we're now to the point where, like a merchant on the app can say $200 and then scan it. Matter of fact, we can do a live transaction real quick.
And I have that video up too, if you want me to.
Oh yeah, do you want to just show it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lightning fast. It's lightning fast.
I mean, I was in awe of it. And I've been, and we've been part of the testing phase. I just had to download it. I didn't want to bring it up in Slack. So, yeah, let me, so here,
yeah, exactly.
So let's show this real quick and just see, just how fast this is.
Yeah, boom.
Done.
It's done.
Like, that's the video.
Yeah,
I mean, the video is longer than that, but that's it. I mean, it's just, this is the BTC part of it. Done.
Yeah, so you select the currency that you want to use, and keep in mind, as far as like it's not polished. Like the purpose right now with the programming is to get it so it's working, and then we'll go back through and make it look beautiful. So it looks a little bit more stale than it will be in the final product. But yeah, like you select your currency, and right now we have Ethereum and Bitcoin. We have the capabilities of adding like 145 others. which would be fantastic. And then we've got a system that's going to be slightly different for other like micro tokens. Anyway, we'll cover that later. But yeah, you select your token that you want to pay with, and you just scan that QR code, and it's done instantly.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And then we also have a system. So because you can't tap with your phone anymore, you can have a card, and your card will work. You just tap it to the POS system or whatever, right? It has to be our network, but it'll be the same thing. And you just go to your app and you type in, you put in like Ethereum, you put in Bitcoin, you put in SHIB, whatever you want it, and it'll set it, and then your card will spend that. If you wanted to change it, you just go to your app, you say, okay, I want to spend Bitcoin instead of Ethereum now. You change it, and then you just go to the store, tap, 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 tap. It's Bitcoin. You want to go back to Ethereum, you want to go to Para, and then you can tap, tap, tap. And then, yeah, so it spends the crypto, same as cash, super fast. It's amazing.
Hey, Kruger, welcome. Yeah, just like Sebastian, a 5-second demo, and that's exactly what we wanted to show you guys, how fast it really is. And obviously, let me also point out that using the card and using this, you'll have to use it anywhere that PayPay is accepted. We just want to keep reiterating that you're not going to be able to go to anywhere, unless it's accepted. They accept PayPay, but just how smooth it is. And I was even shocked when he showed that video. He did 2 transactions in a matter of, I think, 20 some seconds. And that was with just kind of some dead time in between. Yeah. So super awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. And like Cameron said, the UI of it, kind of the user interface part of it will be updated and made to look much more, flashy, I'll call it. Probably later on, but we're just testing functionality right now, and so far so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. The team's been doing a great job. We got so Bitcoin's been a big challenge, right, to work with, but from what I understand, the Bitcoin is there, so we can now do the Bitcoin transactions. So we're to the point right now. We have so we're to the point now where we can actually be testing live transactions. So that's what we'll be starting next week, is actually being able to have tokens, so we'll start with Ethereum and scan the code. And right now it just processes and says, hey, it works if it's there. Now it'll reach out to the network, move the crypto, and actually do a real transaction. So that's what we're starting next week. And
nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like we're instead of steps, we have leaps. Every time we turn around, we're leaping into a new, testing phase, I'll say, and doing something different, going from kind of fake transactions to actually seeing them move. So it's just so much work being done so quickly.
I'm really, really happy to be at this point, because for a little while there was a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of work going on in the background every single day, every single week. But there was a couple week period or a month or so where it was just kind of, the code in the background and not a lot of flashy stuff. So it's nice to be able to bring this to the community and say, we actually have something. It's really being built. It's working, so it's pretty amazing. Paris swap. I don't know where that,
where'd you see that, MG? Is it something that there's like an actual swap, like a Uniswap out there?
It's not associated with us, just to be clear. I don't know. I know that there's a token because I was searching through doing some financials and I found like a Paraswap token. I don't know anything about it.
I think we talked about that a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know where you saw that. I'd like to double check, but I wonder if he was talking about the Paraswap token. But that's been around for a long time. Yeah. And Fred, I love this too. We talked about this week too, and being able to, we keep saying there's a lot of stuff going on, but just to reiterate, being able to show you guys exactly what's being done and how well it is working in the testing phases is
Mhm.
just really awesome for me. We're not just sitting here telling everybody, "Hey, be patient. They're working hard. It's getting done." No, we're trying to show you everything we possibly can along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, big steps for this week. There's one thing that we really haven't been able to talk about just because it's needs to be quiet until it's live. But we've had on the website and stuff talking about the financials.
Hmm.
Um, the financials have been a real struggle um, because crypto innately is way more complex. Um, but the company that we've worked with has been a real pain in the ass. And so I got on yesterday. Actually, sorry. Yesterday, I finally just was like, okay, we're done. But yeah, I had to. We were trying with Honey to try and get everyone to come across and all right, deliver what you said you're going to deliver. And
Yeah.
yeah, Lee and Jesse and myself and Spencer yesterday sat down for a couple hours and went through quite a bit, and then we broke off and we have some game plan. But what we ended up needing to do is just do it all ourselves. So it's disappointing because you pay a company, they have some software, it's supposed to make everything easier, and then apparently their software broke or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
Reputable company, but doesn't really matter. So we said, okay, just if you can't give us the information, then give us a refund. And we've taken that on ourselves. So the goal is to have this done by the end of next week, which allows us to do a lot of other things. So yeah, it's a big focus right now, but I'd say as far as the development goes, the development team is working on now real time, real world transactions. And then on the admin side, I'm working on just doing the finances ourselves.
Yeah. And, I think part of that, what kind of sucks about that whole situation is the lost time involved in waiting on them to deliver the financials and then end up having to do them ourselves anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. We've been waiting months. We talked about beginning of January, hoping to have them back. And now we're here in the middle of March
Yeah.
and end up having to do it ourselves. And, when you use a reputable company like that, and paying decent money to have it done, you're relying on them to get you the information you need because nothing's not to say we can't do it ourselves, but you know it's just a lot of time taken away.
Yeah. And I think I said finances. I should say financials. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's really what it came down to is it was important, and we would have loved to have had it in January, whatever. But we actually are to a point now where if we don't have it, we're gonna have a problem in the next couple of weeks,
yep,
and so. Honestly, I haven't been really up to speed on that too much. I didn't know that we'd been working with this company for so long, or that any of this was truly going on. And I kind of grasped what was going on and what the arrangement was and what the issue was. Yeah, I stepped in and said, information or refund. Like you have
right.
48 hours. And then they said, well, we can try another software. And I said, sounds like a refund. We're done,
Yeah, I mean it's
Um,
been at least 6 months, right?
yeah,
Something like that.
apparently it's been going on since September, which is
Yeah,
just crazy.
yeah,
So and they, it's one of those things where yeah, you pay them money and then they're like, all right, well, we've got this, and they were delivering information, but the thing that we needed is we needed the price on the token in the US dollars because that's what you're calculating capital gains and losses
yep,
on. And all of that. So, I mean, it wasn't that they did nothing. They were categorizing our expenses and categorizing transactions and things like that. And there's a lot. I mean, frankly, I was going through a spreadsheet yesterday, 18,556, transactions. I mean, it's a lot.
right.
Um, so trying to figure out where everything goes and get it categorized. But we've got a game plan. We'll be able to do it ourselves in the way that it needs to be done. And the reason why I bring it up is because obviously we've talked about it publicly, but it opens up about 3 other major doors for us. So it's a big step, and we should be through that by the end of this week, or
that's awesome.
Next week.
Yeah, and then there's still steps beyond that, but unfortunately, until this door opens, you can't get to anything else. So,
right.
I hope you guys can get it done too. I know it's been a huge burden on Lee for months going through this. So hopefully we can get it done soon and just move on. It's one of those things where it's been worked on for so long. Just want to get it done and get on to the next part.
Yeah. Yep. So ultimately it's good. We've got development where it should be. We're going to be taking some crucial steps in the next little while. I do want to hazard people. The more we explore this territory and see what it takes to be compliant and to build this, because it's a massive thing. I've heard of other projects like, oh well, they're now going to do this or they're doing that, whatever. Keep an eye on their compliance. Keep an eye on this. It's a massive undertaking. So just like we need money transmitter licenses in every single state we're operating in. We have to be bonded and insured in every single state that we're operating in. And each one of those licenses requires fingerprinting, background checking, net worth evaluations. Forms that are filed quarterly, forms that are filed annually, some that's just sporadic. This is a massive undertaking. So the more we get into this and we're building this and we're doing the compliance issue, the more I'm reflecting on people saying, oh, well, this project is saying they're going to do a crypto thing or whatever. The SEC has come out and said that the majority of dApps out there are actually money transmitters and likely need to be licensed and are in the crosshairs of the SEC. So
yeah,
that's something that we have always been focused on. But if you're in a project or looking at a project, make sure that they are doing their due diligence, because the SEC is not messing around anymore. They're very, very serious.
Yep. And I posted something in our group chat about someone was fast tracking to get something done. And I'm like, if they're saying they're going to fast track to do payment processing or compliant to do this, they're not going to. It's not going to be possible. I don't remember the specific instance, but I'm like, I just kind of chuckled because I'm like, it's just not that easy to get it done. So like Cameron said, be very diligent and look into it. Para's gone as far as having the staking platform insured, things like that. Yep. So, just extra steps have been taken.
It's there's no fast tracking. This is not CoinGecko doing some shady transaction under the table. Okay. Yep. The state of New York takes multiple years to have the proper licensing through. Okay. Yeah. The state of New York is not going to fast track some rinky dink crypto project. Okay. Nope. It's not happening. We are working, and we're talking to lawyers, we're talking to accountants, we're talking to compliance officers, regulators, consultants. On the regular basis, I'm meeting with people just to make sure that we've got all of the stuff done. I met with I actually was last Wednesday, right? I had to hop off and we talked to that compliance company.
Yeah.
It was so enlightening. So just eye-opening too. The massive amounts of whatever. And they're like, yeah, New York, it could take you 2 years to get licensed in New York. Now, we're not worried about that necessarily. There's other states that, are weeks, but there's no fast track. Yeah. You're not going to go grease the
process no matter who you are.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And also there's net worth valuation. I think New York has $1 million. If you're not worth $1 million, your institution, your company, if you don't have a certain credit score, if you have a criminal record, if you know any of this stuff, let alone the financials, which is kind of a big thing that we're doing. But you don't have every single one of these things, you know, checked off on their list, you're not getting it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insanity. So it's a growing space. It's a lot of people are rushing to this, and then I think finding out that it's complicated and a big undertaking. Hold on a second.
No problem. While we're waiting on Cameron to come back, guys, if you guys have any questions or anything, post them in the chat there. We'll answer those. Yes, we're all already at 40 minutes. So, but like I was showing you guys on the roadmap, check it out. It has been updated. You can see last year's and this year's. You know, obviously it's going to be quite a bit shorter than last year, as you know, a lot of stuff happened last year. So a lot of things were added and checked off as they happened. But pretty impressive roadmap that we have going on. It's, you know, I think so far we're on track to get to kind of be in line with this. So it's exciting. So check it out.
Yeah. Big things on the roadmap. I mean, I just wanted to make it simple because there's a lot of little things.
Yep.
Big thing is we've got what the prospectus and financials will unlock for us, and then we have the Parapay app that's coming out. So we're trying to get all that done in the first 6 months of this year. We're halfway through, and we're on track. And then the next 6 months, if things go the way that we want it to go and need it to go, would be crypto list and the DAG. So
yep.
It's exciting, but we're just trying to keep it simple.
Now, as far as the process of actually getting, say, once we get to the beta phase for the Parapay in Q3, do you foresee an issue getting it onto iOS? Because I know you and I have talked about this, but other applications having problems getting onto iOS. Now, is the test flight and doing it the way we're doing it, is that like the best way in order to be able to get it, out there on iOS as quick as possible?
So when iOS, one of the biggest things that they're looking at is how we're making money, right? Because they need to get their money. So where we're going to have a completely free app and we're not charging people to buy it. We don't have in-app purchases or things that if you buy this, you're going to unlock this. Where that's not a component, it should be pretty straightforward.
Okay.
So that's what we're hoping for. But yeah, iOS is pretty difficult to work with. But we're doing everything the way that it should be. And yeah, working with test flight and having the documentation very clear, it should all help with this final approval process.
Gotcha. That's good. And another project that I kind of look into, they had problems because they changed the in-app purchases agreement, kind of mid-swing and getting approved to get on there, and so that was an issue. But they also have their apps different than ours will be. Like you said, there's no unlocking if you pay money, or you got to have so many tokens to do this. It's all going to be free. So that makes sense.
Yeah. It should. I don't know that we're going to have any problems. I mean, Apple's not very crypto friendly, and the climate's not very crypto friendly. But yeah, we'll see. I don't think we'll have any issue. It might take a little bit of time, but it'll still be available on Google Play. I think that process is like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
They're much easier to work with. So yeah. I'll give them that.
For sure. I see a word in here, aggregator, Paraswap, leading DeFi aggregator that unites liquidity, decentralized exchanges, and lending protocols.
Sounds like a bunch of marketing terms. I don't know.
I'm not, I think I'd heard the name, but it's been a long time. So, but no, nothing related to Paraworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, MG. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, MG. I'm not familiar with them. It's not us.
Copy paste from CMZ. That's funny. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. All right,
Yeah.
guys, you guys have any questions at all for us? I'm glad we were able to show that video. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks for showing that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, it's a real app. It's not like it's fake or anything. So I got the app there. That's the Parapay, and then here's the merchant app.
Yeah, this is my phone. You can see it. It's kind of bright, but
yeah. So from the developers, I got to do a little update because I think they pushed an update just recently.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not very pretty. Oops. But there, so the amount to be paid in USD. So you put in, let's say it's $2.34 because you bought a candy bar and a Coke, and you show the QR code, and there you go, $2.34. You scan it, and it goes right through.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
And there's a lot of parts of it that just aren't there yet, but obviously there's just certain steps they need to test before they move on. So can some of us try a test app too?
Yes. So we will go into a beta, like a closed beta testing phase. And that's where we're going to have people from the community download it and start trying it and giving us feedback. So right now we're in a closed alpha, which is just to say we're just testing rudimentary functions and stuff like that. We will then have a select amount of people try it and test it out and all of that. And then when we say the open beta, that's where everyone can download it.
Yeah. And it's exciting, but the testing part of it's really in the end not that exciting. It's a lot of testing and then reporting back, and then they change some things, then you test it again. Since it's really not any real transactions, it's like I said, it's exciting that we're to this point, but I don't know. There's probably a dozen people that are doing it right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
it's just internal, just the team and direct, members and advisors that are doing it. But yeah, we want to bring in the whole community to come in and start testing it out, and then we'll put it out there and publish it. So
now will the closed beta be on test flight too?
Yes, I'm imagining it will.
Okay. Yeah. And then we'll need people on both sides of the fence, of Google and iOS doing testing on both. So
yeah, because right now it's just the iOS.
Yep.
And I don't know why that is, to be honest. Because I think we can get it published in beta on the Google Play Store.
Yeah. Who cares about pretty? Some people might care about pretty. Well, another thing too, it's not about pretty. It's about, the functions inside. There's not much. It's just a few things right now. And, I had some questions, and it was, just came down to, that's, we don't have that there yet. And it was like, okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Yeah.
In testing,
like if you look at the transactions, like recent transactions or something, there's nothing there. It just has text saying this is where the recent transactions will go. Because right now the functionality is like, can we send the money? Can we do the swap? And that works fine. So that's where we're at. So then it's going to be building out like, okay, when you do a swap, we need to log it in the recent transactions. When you come to this page, you can search and find out what merchants in your area have the app, so you can go and use the app there. There's different functionalities and things like that. So yeah, but it's cool. It's fun to be a part of something that is, quite frankly, so much bigger than yourself. Like sitting here and being, like I like crypto, like building and doing all this, but to think about what this app can do and where it will go and the whole thing. It's pretty crazy just to be like, man, this is a big deal.
Yeah. And we talked about on Wednesday on the huddle, about utility and starting to use the word utility for a lot of projects. It's, I think my view of utility is changing quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Instead of going, we have utility for the token with staking. And then, we need utility for the world to be able to use this. Crypto's not going to be able to be very functional unless we're able to actually use it. So that's what Pair's doing. And, I do believe that they're, we're working on very useful utility.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I totally agree, which is why it's easy to be all in, you know?
Yeah, it is for
So,
sure.
I mean, if people can use their crypto as currency, I mean, it is funny we call them cryptocurrencies and then you can't use them like a currency.
Right.
Um, but yeah, to have it as an actual currency, I think it will bring more stability.
Yeah.
So yeah, because you're going to be removing it's it being purely speculative. You'll be able to actually just go and use it, spend it, be comfortable with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty cool.
There's a lot of people out there that just say, "Oh, it's just fake money." You can't use it. I don't see it. So hopefully we can change that view.
Right. Yeah, we've got a call on Monday with a company, and yeah, Spencer and I will be on it. It should be a big deal. It might. I shouldn't even say anything. It's a yeah. I actually just remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, we got that thing on Monday. I all I want to say is this: like we're working to be the solution. We're working to be the solution and bring it out. And yeah, there's a company. If we can partner with them, if things go well, there's a lot of factors. This is our first conversation, so no one like get super excited. It's more so the takeaway from what I'm trying to say is like we're working with companies that if we're able to get something in line, we'd be able to really be the solution. So the ambition is much bigger than even what's being shown right now.
Yeah, and that speaks volumes, in my opinion. You're not just sitting back, kind of waiting for more. You're actively trying to build these relationships ahead of time.
For sure.
So even if it doesn't work out, it's a no unless you ask. So
Yeah.
putting pair out there and kind of see what happens. And Spencer, you two, I don't think there's nobody better to go on a call like that, in my opinion. Just talking with both of you guys are very well spoken and very professional and know what's going on. And so I have faith. Hope
Well,
you would slip a name.
thanks. Yeah. If I slip the name, I actually don't know if anyone would know it. It's not so much that they're like a front and center name for everyone. It's that they provide the back end capabilities for everyone that you do know their name for. That's the thing. So when you think of someone, you name them, right? Name someone that you know. This company is more than likely instrumental in their back end, and we're talking to a company like that. So it's exciting, right? I mean, what comes of it, who knows? Maybe we're not there yet. Maybe we are. We'll see. But
well, who knows? Maybe they'll tell you, well, when you get to this point, let's have another call. You know what I mean? They may say that, you guys aren't far enough yet or something like that. But hey, it's having a first conversation.
That's what it is. And then
the hard part.
And knowing, because it's complicated. One, it's complicated in crypto because everything it's so new, it's so fluid, it's so whatever. But I mean, I'll readily admit, I mean, I was an electrician. I've run my own businesses. I had a firearms store, so I've built businesses. I've never done a fintech company. I've never been the COO of a fintech company. So the learning curve is steep. And every time we're able to sit down and have a conversation with a consultant or an attorney or a regulator or a leading, fintech provider, like technology provider, it's just a massive amount of knowledge that you just are able to absorb in those meetings. So I'm really excited. I obviously have high hopes that they would be like, let's do it, let's get this going. But yeah, more than likely it turns out, okay, well, let's set these goals. When these goals are hit, then we can move forward, right? Yeah. And that's just as good.
Yeah, and it's all about expectations for them. Like, okay, well, like you said, when you get here, let's talk again. Let's revisit it. But I love what Rad said on Wednesday. When she says, "Oh, what do you do?" I work with a fintech payment processing company, not a cryptocurrency. And I was like, wow, that's a great way to put it. People, because that's what the direction we're going, right? Is payment processing and fintech. So, I love that she said that, and it kind of gives people kind of a good idea of what we're doing.
When it's almost weird, I'll admit this, okay? When you look at the structure of the business from inside the business and the meetings and the work that's being done and everything being tracked, very often do I forget that we're actually a crypto company.
Right.
And like it's very often like there's a weekly reminder because I'll pay out the guys, the developers and stuff like that. Like we'll pay them for their time and we'll pay them in crypto. And it's like, oh yeah, like we got to do with crypto. But 99% of what we do throughout the week, it's actually very little crypto related, at least on my end, right?
Yeah.
So it is kind of funny. I don't necessarily feel like a crypto company. Definitely not a crypto project as often. It's a fintech company, and if someone was to kind of peek behind the curtains and see who we're talking to, what the aims are, all the kind of more stuff that we don't really want to be talking about publicly because it's too fluid. I wouldn't feel like a crypto company either.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's funny that you think of it that way. Yeah, hey, Mike. Good to see you. I have to watch back. We did a little demo on the app about 20 minutes ago or so. You have to watch back and see it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Utility turned into product. Yeah. Yep. It's funny you talk about not doing a lot of crypto with everything that we're doing, testing wise and doing that. I don't really pay attention to the charts anymore. I don't really chart watch and do all that stuff anymore. And so, just focusing on the bigger picture of this business, not project, but business kind of takes you away from that aspect of it, watching candles and all that stuff where we were, a year ago or a year and a half ago. That's kind of what we all did. We sat and watched charts a lot.
Right.
And now we're kind of getting away from that. So.
Yep, absolutely. I hope everyone's doing well. Stay safe out there. We got the staking. The staking's going. 16.5 billion tokens staked on Para. It's a wild ride, but I think if you listen back to the last Saturday show, we were talking about this. I think it was pumping up. Ethereum and Bitcoin were pumping up. And I think actually we called it perfectly, saying that's probably that line of resistance and we're going to go back down. Don't worry, you'll be able to get Ethereum. I think I even said 1350, if I remember correctly. So even though there's a lot of volatility and a lot of craziness going on, oh, look at that, 16.8 billion.
16.8 billion, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it just went up about 200 million last week, I think. I think it was 16.6 last time I saw it.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I just want to pull up Ethereum real quick and just see where we were. I guess my point in saying this is just to remind people. Yeah, so Ethereum dropped. Okay, hold up. Ethereum dropped to 1370, and I'm pretty sure I said 1400 or 1350 or something because that was the level.
I think you did.
So that was a couple weeks ago. I guess the point is this: don't panic, right? Just be safe. Do what you got to do. Stables are really shaky right now, but we know Ethereum's not going anywhere. We know Bitcoin's not going anywhere. It's just one thing to another. But anyway, everyone be safe. Look after your money. Protect it.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, if anybody else have any questions, bring them up now. Or we're gonna hop off. It's almost been an hour, so. But we appreciate you guys joining us on this Saturday. We'll see what happens. We'll be on again on Wednesday, and then a week from Wednesday we'll be back on with Lee and Spencer. I think is the plan on the 20. Oh, the 29th? We have 4. We have 5 Wednesdays this month, so it'll probably be the 29th. We'll have them on.
Yeah, the 29th.
Okay. So another 2 weeks, we'll have them on and get some more big updates and go from there. So
cool. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm glad. So this is a longer month. Yeah, so 5 Wednesdays. We'll have a great amount of updates on the 29th.
Yeah, we got an extra Wednesday. So Should be a big one, hopefully.
Yep.
But all right, guys, I don't see any more questions coming in, so we're gonna hop off here. But again, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Cameron, for coming on, and we'll see everybody on Wednesday.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everyone else.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.